I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm gonna do this video Emma Chamberlain style because I'm not out here trying to be like, oh my gosh, like university was so amazing and it's so awesome and I met all my best. That's true, but I feel like sometimes we need to stop romanticizing things and we need to be a little real, unfortunately. And listen, I am like CEO of being delusional, but this is some serious stuff here. I am going into my 4th year of university. I've really been through the ringer. Like, I would say I'm probably one of uOttawa's most well-rounded students because I have seen the trenches of what that registrar's office could do for you. And I've seen the trenches of what grades could look like. But I've also seen the highs. I've seen an A+ before in stats also. I've seen an A+ for essays that I've written. So, you know, I've really seen it all. I'd love to offer my advice. And I was also a student ambassador at the University of Ottawa, where I study. I used to do this as my job, but now I'm doing this for free, so you're welcome. I think academics is very important, especially in university, you know. This is a higher level education that you're going after, but I feel like people don't put enough emphasis on the student well-being part of being in university as well. So I would say there's 2 parts to giving advice. There's the student part, which includes academics, which includes how to get the most out of your classes and how to get the most out of sort of the student part. But then there's also the life part. What else? What happens outside of the classroom? I will offer my advice on both topics because I feel like I don't know, I've tried out most stuff. I've been pretty active in a few clubs. I did try student association things, and some things stick, some things don't. My first tip for the academic side is don't take an 8:30 a.m. class. Like, if I'm being so real, do not take an 8:30 a.m. class. Because, I mean, if you have to, like, by all means, do what you need to do. But don't take an 8:30 a.m. class because you do not want to be learning about molecular biology, economics, and supply and demand curves, and antiderivatives at 8:30 a.m. Imagine learning those things as soon as you wake up. But even if you think you're a morning person because you were a morning person in high school and maybe you woke up at 6 a.m. and then you had, I don't know, hockey practice at 7 a.m. and then you went to school for like however long. Listen, like, university's different. University you is going to be way different than you in high school. Keep that in mind. And that goes for taking an 8:30 class. So just don't do it. You're going to be dreading it. And even halfway through the semester, you're going to stop going to that class because you're going to realize you value sleep more than you do antiderivatives and microbiology. I would say, especially for like the STEM streams, like, just don't take it if you have the choice. But sometimes you really do have to take it. But I feel like when you're taking sort of introductory courses, especially in your 1st and 2nd year, they do offer those classes at different times throughout the day. So instead of only having it offered once a week in, you know, the whole semester, they'll have it like, okay, sometimes we'll have it at 10 a.m. to 11:30 on Mondays, and then we'll also have it offered in the evening. So if you can take a class where your like brain is fully functioning and the gears are working in your brain, then pick the time where that happens for you. Otherwise, you won't retain any information. So that is my first tip. Second tip is try different learning styles. Because high school maybe you loved taking notes on a notebook. Well, university me swears by an iPad. So that's what's a little different. But yeah, that goes beyond what sort of materials and stationery you use. So that could be even like your note-taking techniques. Are you going to use the Cornell note-taking technique? Are you going to just like bullet form or bullet point? There we go, that's it. Yeah, those are all things that you can do your own research on and you can try out for yourself. I feel like even if you watch a whole bunch of different videos, you're just gonna have to practice in real time and like see what you like and see what works for you. So for me personally, my note-taking method has changed over the years. At first I was doing paper because I was like, I love a good notebook. And then I realized, like, oh, it's kind of hard to stay organized. So then I moved on to writing notes on my iPad. But then I was like, I still don't know what I wrote. So finally, I moved to writing notes on my laptop in Google Docs. So that way I can, like, search up things in my notes. So that's what helped for me. But that might not help for you. So I'd say try out different learning styles. It's definitely worth it, because I learned my learning style just last year in my 3rd year, but I'm going into my 4th. So if I had only taken a chance on myself, or if I had only, seen it from my perspective now, maybe I would have done better. But it's okay. It's a learning process, and I'm hoping that 4th year will be the best year yet. All that to say is try out different learning techniques and different learning styles and note-taking techniques and whatnot, because everyone's different. Like, just because your friend takes notes on their iPad, but then you like taking notes on paper, it doesn't mean one's better than the other. And that's for you to figure out. Yeah, I feel like it is a bit different depending on what sort of stream you're in, like whether you're studying humanities or if you're studying STEM, anything related to that. Just try it out. Try everything out and see what works for you. So my 3rd tip is make friends in your classes. You really won't regret that, because there's been a few classes, especially in my 1st year, because it was COVID, I didn't make any friends in my classes, because it was also different circumstances. Now that like COVID has been lifted and all that stuff, like go talk to someone, even if you're introverted. Like, you're really gonna thank yourself for making a friend in class, because what happens if you're sick and you want the notes from class? Oh, your friend can send you those because they're so nice. Or what happens if you want to study with someone and you want to study that specific subject and talk about the class? Well, you can do that with your friend that you'll make. Or what happens if you're doing a group project and you need a group? Bang, your friend can help you. So there's just so many benefits of making friends in class. You're also making friends with someone who's like struggling in the class with you. So that's very good to have. Tip 4, go to your office hours. Go to your office hours, because your profs are going to be so incredibly happy to see you. And lots of good things come from talking to your profs and going to their office hours. I had this one friend, we used to do this on tour a lot. If you ever go on a university tour and they say, I had this one friend, it's from a folder. We have a folder called I Have This Friend, and then it's just like a list of different facts and stuff. But I'm not lying here. I have this friend, and he got this really good research opportunity. I think he's in pre-law or whatever. He wanted to do this research project, and his professor, I don't know if like the professor reached out to him or he just reached out to the professor, and the prof is like, oh yeah, no, for sure, like I can take you on because I know you from office hours, whatever. So especially if you want to do research, or if you want to have that professor as a reference, office hours, mwah, chef's kiss. If you just want to chat or you're interested in something that they do research in, yeah, why not? Go talk to them. They'll be so happy to talk to you. And a lot of the part-time professors are actually working in the field that they're teaching. So for example, social sciences, which is my program or my faculty, lots of the professors are either on some board or some council or whatever, working high up in the government somewhere, and then part-time they teach. So that's super cool, because you get like half the time in class they're telling stories about, when I was young and I was working for the Privy Council, whatever. And then half the class is like, okay, so this is what you actually need to know. So that's a cool thing about talking to profs as well. Okay, so the last thing, maybe this goes without saying, and I am no better than anyone else who does this, but try not to procrastinate. Like, if you can do something in 5 to 10 minutes, just do it, like, when you think about it. Because you're gonna thank yourself for not procrastinating, even on the smallest things. Like, let's say, for example, reaching out to your group. Like, if you're doing a team project, it takes less than 5 minutes to be like, hey, we're in a group together. It said that on Brightspace, the virtual campus. And, let's meet up somewhere. Let me know your availability. By the way, I'm Peniel, or I'm whatever your name is. So that takes less than 5 minutes. Like, don't procrastinate on that kind of stuff. The organization definitely helps not procrastinate. And also having like an assignment tracker. I feel like that's what really helped me this past year, because oh my god, it was just so satisfying to like check something off on my assignment tracker. But yeah, so anyways, figure out what works for you, but just don't, like, a lot of this is choose your own adventure and like figure it out yourself. That's just like the only way. Okay, so that's the part of the academics. Okay, now let's get into real juicy stuff. The student life part. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whether you're introverted, whether you're extroverted, these tips will help for you, because I would say sometimes I'm introverted. sometimes I really don't want to talk to anyone, but sometimes I want to talk to everybody and their moms. So, yeah, anyways, these are student life tips because, as I said before, there's the student part, which is your academics, but there's also the life part, which is outside of the classroom. So, my first tip is be yourself. And I know that's like so cliche. It goes without saying. Be yourself. But at the same time, you can reinvent yourself. Okay, hold on. Let's try to do this again. I'm originally from Calgary, Alberta. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I was known as the theater girl in high school because I skipped school and I did theater. So that earned me that reputation. However, when I moved here, no one knew that I did theater unless I told them that. So now if you've made it to this part of the video, you now know that secret. Please hold that close to your heart because that's like a pretty big secret. So anyways, I reinvented myself in that way where I told people, I was like, oh yeah, like I just sing. They had no idea I was dressed up as a cute little pirate singing about, I don't know, whatever on stage. They don't need to know that. So in the same way that I did that, you can reinvent yourself and still be yourself in university. So you can reinvent yourself realistically. You can surround yourself with people that you admire or people that you want to be like, and then sort of feed off their energy and then reinvent yourself. So I know that's a bit, extreme, and maybe you don't need to reinvent yourself. Maybe like living at your parents' or guardian's house sort of limits you and your capacity to like do things on your own. Like, what kind of food do you want to eat, or like what do you want your schedule to be? What if you've always wanted to go on like 5 a.m. morning runs? Yeah, sure, why not? Go do that. No one knows you here. Or maybe they do, but guess what? You're a new person. People are always evolving. So you can be like that too. So yeah, I say be yourself. But you can still be yourself while reinventing like a new version of yourself. Okay, let's get to the juicy one. You are never going to regret trying something new. Like, I can guarantee you this. Whether it's food, whether it's friends, whether it's an activity or a class, or I don't know, it could be anything. You are never going to regret trying something new, because at least if it turns out super amazing, you can say, oh my gosh, that was crazy. I never would have thought I could do that. Not something that you sort of, I don't know, liked or something. When you did try that new thing, you can say, well, hey, like at least I tried and I know I don't like this. So let's say, for example, the dining hall. That's a pretty good example. Not to scare you off away from the dining hall food, but it makes your stomach upset. But the first time that I went to the dining hall, I was like, this is incredible. Like, I could see myself eating here every single day. And like, compared to other universities, I think the University of Ottawa has a pretty highly ranked dining hall. So that does say a lot about relative dining hall quality across Canadian universities. But besides the point, food is food and food is fuel. So you'll get through it. But anyways, the point is, when I went the first time, I was like, oh my god, like this is incredible. I could really see myself eating here. Like, this is awesome. You could eat all the salad you want. You could also have all the cereal and ice cream you could want too. But then as I kept on going there, I was like, okay, maybe I actually don't like it. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't tried. How will you know if you never try? So you're never going to regret trying something new because you have nothing to lose. You literally have nothing to lose. So if you're moving from a different country, or if you're moving from a different city or province, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try something new, because you'll really thank yourself for it. And who knows, maybe you'll even make some really great friends out of it. And that leads me to my next point. Your first week of university is 101 week, we call it, but it's your orientation week. That is like friend-making palooza. Like, you are going to be surrounded by so many people, and all the student associations, they work so hard on prepping different activities. So you'll have a fun activity, and then you'll have another fun activity, and it's just like, it feels like summer camp low-key. I highly recommend during 101 week, and especially in the first month of university, let's say, for example, you have a meal plan, so make as many friends as you can during 101 week, and then try to eat with those friends like at the dining hall, or maybe if you're not on dining hall, go eat somewhere. So much easier to pick your friends when you have like a bigger selection. You know what my mom says, or I don't know if it's my mom or her friend or my aunt, but she says, when you're dating, but this could also go for friends and whatnot, she says that you need to collect and then select. And I think that's pretty good advice, because it's easier to select the friends that you actually want when you have like a selection of people that you've met during your 101 week or your orientation. So that's that. You can also afford to be picky with your friends. Like, just because you gravitated towards this type of person in high school, that doesn't mean that you have to be friends with people like that in university. Like, university is so awesome because there's so many different kinds of people that you'll meet, and I feel like that just makes you more of like a well-rounded person when you meet people from like different walks of life or people with different interests. Like, it makes things so much better. You can afford to be picky with your friends, and that leads me to my next tip, is that you can say no sometimes, especially during your first week of like university. Like, there's so many different things that, you know, the student association and student union and whatever, and, you know, going out is fun and hanging out with your friends is fun, but sometimes you need to decompress. You need to, like, you know, lock in and be like, okay, what do I need right now? Do I need friend time? Do I need alone time? So it's okay to say no. And like, even like, this goes beyond friends. Like, let's go back to that academic section. Let's say, for example, you're like super smart, and the prof is like, oh my gosh, like, please, I want you for this research thing. What if your course load is so heavy? What if you're not settled into the city yet? Like, it's okay, you can say no. Like, you know, I'm sure you're smart, you got into university, so opportunities will still be coming for you. But yeah, so it's okay, you can afford to say no, and you can afford to be picky with your friends. Yeah, and then I'd say, like, my last tip, depends on what type of person you are. I love a good busy schedule, but if you don't like a busy schedule, then maybe you can skip this one. But I still think it's pretty valuable. Join a club or get a part-time job, or maybe do both if you want. Like, if you're really hustling, yeah, slay, go do that. I think joining clubs really makes your university experience a lot more valuable, because you get to meet a lot more like-minded people, and then you also get to do something fun. Like, it's like a hobby. For example, the club that I'm recently like a bit more active in is the Filipino Student Association. So anyways, hey Filsa people, if you're watching. At the University of Ottawa, there are over 460 different clubs at the university, and if you don't like any of them, you can start your own. We had to say that in the script. So, like something like that. But anyways, it is true, like, we have so many clubs, and like, if you want to put something on your resume, yeah, there's a club that needs an exec, and you can take that spot. So yeah, join a club, or okay, we're getting super comfortable here, but yeah, join a club or get a part-time job, because, you know, like, even if you think you're busy, you're really not, because who doesn't want a little extra money, or who doesn't want a little more like time with friends, or who doesn't want to meet new people? So I say, you, like, even though the other end of being a student, when you're first starting out to be a student, you'll think like, oh my gosh, like, I have no time to do anything. No, that is not true. You have time to work out, you have time to make food for yourself, and you have time to join a club or get a part-time job. So you'll thank yourself later for doing those things, and it just makes your university experience a lot richer than if you were to only stay in your dorm and like go to class. Like, that's also like such a way to be a student, and like, I respect that, because you're so focused on your studies and whatnot. But I feel like to be more well-rounded, which is like something I really strive to do, is do other things besides school. Yeah, how many times are you going to be 20 or in your late teens sort of figuring out what you like, what you want to do with your life, and sort of where you want to go? So yeah, that's that. And, you know, that doesn't even have to be like, you'll figure out who you are as a person if you join a club, if you get a part-time job. It's just like some things that you might learn along the way. Like, for example, you know, joining a club gets you good job experience, and you can put that on your resume, and having a part-time job during the university, sort of, you know, your university study, can give you more experience on your resume. If this is something that like matters to you, like experience and stuff, you have so much time. So anyways, those are my tips, and hopefully some of those were helpful. I'd love to hear what you're sort of worried about going into university, because, you know, everyone worries about different things, but maybe if you like put them in the chat, it's a safe space there. Put them down in the comments, and even if you're like, you know, well, in your like big 4th year, or like you're in your big 5th year if you're doing co-op, like what are you scared about? Like, are you scared about after grad like me? Or if you're in your 1st year, or whichever year, like, were you scared of the big jump from 1st year to 2nd year? There's no big jump. But yeah, anyways, so letting me know. I'd love to hear what you're sort of worried about, or what you're sort of looking forward to. And also, there's this YouTuber that I love. His name is, I don't know, something Andrew. I love him, but clearly not enough to know his name. But anyways, he does this thing like at the end of his videos, and he's like, only 20% of you will reach the end of my video, and if you do, like, comment like X or comment whatever. So I think that's so cool, because, you know, the people that make it to the 20% are just like the real ones. So anyways, this is my version. If you make it to this, and you are part of my 20%, I would love to hear about, I want to hear about the highlight of your summer. Yeah, you tell me. If you make it to this point and you listen to my advice, I want to hear about the highlight of your summer, and then that will let me know that you made it to, you know, the end of the video. Thanks so much. I love a good yap session. And anyways, keep an eye out for more videos. I do have more things planned, more like university how-tos sort of videos. I wish I had these videos when I was looking up, like, how to do this in university, or how to do that, because my sisters can only help me out so much, and, you know, all of that. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Fit in however you want. It doesn't matter, you know what you are.